Well, last week, Wednesday, we were here with civil society, looking forward to that all-important meeting with the president, the first of such. And it was about illegal mining. And we were asking them at the time their expectations going into this all-important meeting to deal with a humanitarian catastrophe which is unfolding, well, an environmental catastrophe rather, which was unfolding before our very eyes. It's been called many things: environmental terrorism, and ecocide, and many others. So the civil society guys went in there to meet the president, and a lot of them had hopes that this will be the final conversation before action is taken, and that going into that meeting, they had high expectations. Did they get what they were hoping for? This is an opportunity to look back on what happened on Friday, but also to chart a course for what next. As far as the civil society guys are concerned, there were many views expressed that day. They had the president. Today we get to assess with them what they got out of that and whether or not their fundamental demands were addressed. And a few things that we need to first establish before we move forward. We're just breaking it down in terms of the entire time that the civil society guys spent with the president last Friday and his key ministers. We saw 79 minutes spent by the government representatives, including the president himself, speaking. So this was fundamentally a briefing that we had from the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, the minister himself. We heard from the Attorney General. We heard from the Nimos commander who was leading the operations there. Collectively, altogether, 79 minutes in total. The civil society guys who were in there managed 45 minutes in comments and questions. And so this told you, these numbers tell you very quickly in the snapshot where the focus was, because this was designed to be an update on what government is doing and plans to do with illegal mining, and less about what the civil society guys came there to say. And so many of them had to submit written statements to the president and to the government because time was limited for each of them to articulate their issues. We will speak to them about this when we sit for a conversation tonight, briefly. And then a few things that we heard from the president on the state of emergency. He's now very clear, as the Constitution had said, that only when the National Security Council advises that he should impose a state of emergency will he impose a state of emergency. And it has to be said, though, that the mere fact that the president invited the CSOs for a conversation alone is a positive. And over the last few weeks, we've been doing the good, the bad, and the ugly. This is a good step. Come in, let's have a conversation, right? It is the key question then is, did the conversation achieve the set objectives? One, clearly defining how we're going to win this war against illegal mining. And what are the parameters? What are the KPIs? What are the key timelines? And which really were the things the CSOs were asking for going in. So it's good to invite for a conversation, opening yourself up. And there's something that the president said I need to emphasize when they met the CSOs. He says, your criticism and holding our feet to the fire keeps us on our toes, to paraphrase, right? And to hear a president say that and to welcome such fair CSO criticism, if you like, or accountability, deploy accountability mechanisms to hold the government to their own commitments. And to hear a president say that, it's a powerful confession indeed. It's a powerful thing for a president to say. So we believe that is a good step. And it's signaling effect. The signaling effect of that is powerful. To hear the man at the top himself say, we welcome the criticism. We welcome that you're keeping us on our toes, because this is a fight we must win. And when you do that, it keeps us on our toes. And I believe making that session alone was important. And so that's key to commend the president on that. But having said that, though, then you also then have to look at, so what next? Are the key things he's saying achieving key results? So when he says, for example, that it's only when the National Security Council advises him to do so, then you begin to ask yourself, so when is the National Security Council? What is it really? The president himself is there plus a vice. We have the Ministers of Defense, Interior, Foreign Affairs, and Finance also on there. You have the Chief of Defense Staff also on there. You have the Inspector General of Police also on there. And so all of these individuals are appointed by the president. The president himself is also on there, and the vice president too. We have the DG of prisons, presidents, the directors, external, internal, military, intelligence, all of them still, as you know, the commander-in-chief is the president. Commissioner of Customs, commander-in-chief, the president. 3 presidential appointees, again, the president. So the council, the National Security Council, is, in all intents and purposes, the president. He is the alpha and omega there. So will he then initiate the process for this advice to happen? So this is another conversation that we must have, right, on this matter when we sit for a conversation with the CSOs. And then the key recommendations that we know the CSOs on Galamsey were putting forward is that clear threshold for state of emergency is one thing they were asking the president to say. Going in, they want a clear threshold to trigger state of emergency, right? Did they get that? They wanted to publish water quality index regularly. Did they get that? They wanted clear indicators of success. Did they get that? They wanted published KPIs for MMDCs and police. Did they get that? We'll ask them when we sit for a conversation. And deportation of foreign nationals. Did they get that commitment from the government officials who were in this meeting? And then target Galamsey financiers family. Did they get that too? All these were put to them. But they also got an update on a few things that I didn't know before. 1,400 legal minors arrested and being held, and prosecution is underway. 600 under prosecution. 1,181 excavators tracked. 724 of them impounded. And deportation of foreign nationals says it's not government policy. Okay, so if it's not, has it ceased? We'll ask that question. And then government's next steps, we also get a fair bit of that. Deployment of troops to mining zones, we've had that, and that was emphasized. 24-hour toll-free line, call if you see something, say something. Revocation of LI 2462 will happen, we've been told. Public tribunals will be set up, the Attorney General told us that. And then you're going to decontaminate water, and this is one of the areas that was controversial with the use of the term dechemicalize, of course. I mean, forget about the jargons and the semantics. Basically, they want to make sure that the water that has been polluted is treated somehow and purified over time. Is an investment that needs to be made. Higher budget allocations for next year's budget. The president says he expects the finance minister to do so in the 2026 budget. Then we also learned about the 3 million Ghanaians involved in small-scale mining. So this is a very huge economy for those involved there. And you see why it's a challenging thing to do. As some have suggested, ban everything, reclaim, and then ease back in. Can you do so if you look at the numbers? It's a key question to look at. Well, the minority today have been speaking. One of the things they've said is, the MPP minority, that this was a PR gimmick and government downplaying the severity of the problem. They also said all the MPP policies have been rebranded and being presented as new initiatives, right? I wonder whether the CSOs who participated in the meeting agree with this session. They will join me for a conversation as we assess what was achieved on Friday, but most importantly, where do we go from here? They're joining me after this. And thanks for staying with us here on PM Express. It's always brought to you by Syntex Tanks. It is strong, it is tough, academic times, and also Pepsodent Cavity Fighter. If you're looking for a tank to store water, especially for those struggling in the central region, which has become the epicenter of the Galamsey impact, and you would want to think about the tortoise tank, the tank with the tortoise on it, because it's durable, it's long-lasting. Look for the sales points across the country and call them. And you'll definitely find want to buy, strong, tough. And then you're looking for the Economic Times newspaper to deal with the challenge with the loads of research that our institutions churn out on a yearly, daily, weekly, monthly basis that appears to gather dust on the shelves. That journal would put them together in a way that becomes very relevant and accessible to all. And so they're launching pretty soon, and when they do, look out for it, because it is going to revolutionize the way research is documented for impactful purposes. And then, of course, peptide cavity fighter. It's every time we eat food and sugars, they're trapped between our teeth, leading to tooth decay, gum disease, and in some cases, foul breath. And so tonight, before you sleep, use a toothpaste. And when you're using toothpaste, you're thinking about peptide cavity fighter, because it gives you the fresh breath. Peptide cavity fighter, every smile matters. My guest joining me tonight for a conversation, Elikem Kotoko. You know him. He was here last week when we're looking forward to that meeting. He's the Deputy Chief Executive Officer of the Forestry Commission. I'm delighted that he can join me in the studio. Also joining me tonight is Dr. Kenneth Shigbe. He is the convener of the Media Coalition Against Illegal Mining. He was at the media encounter with the CEO, well, not a media encounter, the president's engagement with the CSOs last Friday. He's also the CEO of the Chamber of Mines. And I'm also delighted to be joined by Reverend Father Michael Kwaku. He's a Director for Governance, Justice and Peace at the Ghana Catholic Bishops' Conference. The Catholic Bishops' Conference was represented at that engagement with the President. And Awula Sewa, another of the champions when it comes to advocating and asking for an end to illegal mining, is the coordinator of Eco-Conscious Citizens. I'm delighted that she also joins us in the studio. We'll be expecting Senor Hossi. He's a member of the Ghana Coalition Against Illegal Mining. I believe he was also there last week, Friday. And thank you all, gentlemen and lady, for joining us. And I want to start with Awula, you were there last week, Friday.
Indeed.
You were not here last week when we did the looking forward. So I wonder if you could start by detailing for me what you went there with a set of expectations, I believe.
Well, let's say we went there to listen to what was going to be said. And what was clear is that the president wants to be seen as a listening president, somebody who's not faced at criticism, somebody who is listening and welcomes the pressure being put on the administration to get to grips with this canker that is destroying Ghana. So that was all well and good. The presentations from the government side took quite a while. There wasn't that much time for thorough, what shall I say, response from the CSOs. And I came out of it sort of wishing there had been timelines. The president has said clearly that he's not ruling out the demand for a state of emergency, but we're not yet there. So what one would like to find out is, when will we be there? What are the indicators that will show that this is the time to, to call for a state of emergency? We didn't come out of the meeting with any better indication as to when that will be. Would it be when all our water bodies have been poisoned, when we've all got kidney disease? We really don't know. And then also little things like a number that one can call when one sees excavators moving or fans on our water bodies. We haven't got that yet.
Yeah, I think they announced that they're setting up a call center. That's part of what the minister...
Yes, but after 9 months, it seems to us that that's taken a little too long. There were some things that people would have seen as low-hanging fruit, such as the repeal of LI 2462, a common number that one can call to say that the excavators are moving. Can you do something about it, And then we also would have liked an indication as to the, what we call having something to do with the MCEs, the DCs, the police. When under your watch, there's illegal mining. What are we going to do to ensure that they do something about it? I can give an example. In Gemma, for instance, we really need to applaud them. There's no illegal mining there. Why not? Because they have a very good chief, and the community and Father Blay has come together and ensured that there's no community mining. So they are an example of a community that is doing well. It would have been helpful if they could have informed the meeting of why they are doing so well so others could follow. There was no opportunity for that. So there were a few things that we feel could have come out of the meeting. And what came out of it was that, yes, special courts are going to be set up, but when? We really haven't got any timeline. So a lot of promises about what will be done, but when, as to when that will be done, we're still waiting. Okay,
I'll come for you to give me your firm verdict then, and I will sort of unpack some of the things that you were told, and then we'll look at the format too. But let me go to Ken Ashigbe. Doc, last week you were very clear in what you were going to be asking for, and indeed you went there with a written set of asks, if you like, a document that details the media coalition against illegal mining expectations of the president. First of all, just recap. Last week you made the point you wanted to see a clear timeline around, first of all, a threshold for what will trigger a state of emergency. You also wanted, from, if I recollect clearly from what you told us last week, you wanted the president to, what would the success indicators be, and then the clear timelines. Did you get these from this meeting?
Thank you very much, Evans. And as Awala had said, the format of the program did not give us that opportunity. So we did not get the clear milestones. We did not get clear timelines. Look at the minister did. And again, we should bear in mind that is a presentation the minister did before our ask, in his concluding slide. There were a few issues that had timelines, but majority of them did not have timelines. The president also, I would say it's the president who was responding to the issues. He did address what would result in him calling a state of emergency. The only thing we heard was it is his national security chiefs that are failing us. And so we did not also get a timeline on that. Again, on the issues of some of the asks we have, for example, issues of chiefs and the fact that the good ones are preventing Galamsey from happening, and those who are not should be held responsible, same as the DCs and all of that did not come. The other things that came that are good was the fact that the president himself invite all of us, and the minister also re-echoed that when he said, when you see something, it's something. So for me, that's one of the big things I think all of us should do. Now that we should follow the example of multimedia example, where we're out in the field collecting the evidence and showing that back to the president and help the president to hold duty bearers who have to do something. So that was the fact that the president also agreed that it was not going to just be the end, but we're going to be a series of them that had to be done. That also was an important thing. But I also am thinking that president, after receiving the paper that we submitted, now to us, with some of those responses. So we are very expectant we would get that, because again, there were a lot of things that are being said that you would not have definite timelines that we would need to see some timelines on. Again, we also have to agree that it was a good first step.
Yeah, and by the way, I want to get my technical team to rectify the stuttering audio from Dr. Ken Ashigbe, because he said a lot of things, but a lot of that was stuttering. And let's fix that, hopefully, when we reconnect to him. And I want to now bring in Reverend Father, who was also here last week. And I remember one of the last things he said to us was that he was hoping that this will be the very last of such conversations, and that after this meeting that has happened, the next will be action. And I'm inviting him now to give me his thoughts, whether his expectations have been met. Reverend, tell me, were your expectations met?
Well, as my previous colleagues have already intimated, we should agree that it was at least a first good step. But the problem we are dealing with is so debilitating that the only solutions which are acceptable are those which actually fix the problem. Because you see, part of the reason why many people would advocate for, say, a state of emergency is because there's been, and there continues to be, a deficit of integrity surrounding actions towards tackling this menace. So when people are asking for, say, a state of emergency and various benchmarks and clear, timelines, they are basically asking for, urgent action. And whilst the president, gave some good indications, we still believe that there's still a long way to go. Most benchmarks were not provided. Timelines are yet to be given. So we still hope. They did conclude the conversation, not in the least, but was it a good first step? Well, I should give that to him and hope that, as I said, going forward, he will show the courage of his convictions about this really devastating crisis that we are facing.
Okay, so all of you have given me your brief assessment of this, and I get the same impression. Good first step, but in terms of delivering on the timelines and the tangibles, I don't get the impression that all of you are satisfied with that. I would like, is that a fair account of this?
Yeah.
The firm timelines and the tangibles that you are looking for from this meeting?
Exactly. The house is burning.
Okay.
The house is burning. We want to know when the fire will be put out, and we believe the fire service must be sent. Yeah. We should stop using buckets of water. We face an existential threat. So it doesn't look like the urgency of the problem was actually addressed.
Okay, good. Let me bring in Elikim. Elikim, you were there in the front row. I was looking out for you because I know I was going to invite you back, and I was praying that you'd be there. So when you come back, you can answer the questions that CSOs will have. So you've heard their assessment. One, thumbs up, applause for good first step. And I made the point to hear a president say, hold my feet to the fire, I welcome the criticism, keep us on our toes, and you get us to deliver. I think was a fantastic thing to a president to say. The signaling effect of that is powerful because we live in a country where often politicians, when CSOs take on an issue, they get battered. And so everybody then coils and then we leave the problem to fester. But to hear a president say that, everybody else seems to then have to toe a line because the president is saying that, how dare you take on a CSO and say otherwise? So that for me was key. And all the CSOs say, good first step. But then address the main issue, the tangibles, the timelines we're looking for.
Yeah, Evans, not only is President Mahama a listening one, but he's one who understands what leadership means and understands well or has an appreciation for governance. And today you hear some people say that, oh, it was just a publicity stunt. I mean, they are rather pained that that whole thing happened.
That's the minority.
Well,
that's the MPP's minority position.
That whole thing happened. Truth be told, it afforded many the opportunity to even abreast themselves with what's been done so far. And it's instructive to remind our viewers that, for instance, the Catholic Bishops Conference rep and two others also did say that, look, they were for a state of emergency, but having come here and witnessed what's been the briefing, they now think that they side with the president. However, what would he say will account for state of emergency? I
think what he said, just like, what is the threshold?
What is the threshold?
That will trigger state of emergency. He wanted to asking the president to say, okay, tell me now, what is it that will trigger it?
The whole brouhaha about the state of emergency, to date, I'm yet to hear a single security expert tell us that he also agrees with the need for a state of emergency.
Festus Abwaji, who was also there,
yeah, he was there,
disagreed with the state of emergency.
Yes, he disagrees with state of emergency. He said it clearly that we haven't gotten there from a security point of view. What is the state of emergency? As we have always said, what it is just telling us, let's put the Constitution aside and nobody has any rights anymore.
Okay, that's not completely true.
And that would, please, let me finish.
That's not completely
true. Yeah, no, all of you, I'll come to you. I know this. I'll put the Constitution to him.
I know.
I'll put the Constitution to him.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
But let him finish his point, and you can. With Dr. Asigbe, and you definitely weigh in pretty shortly for me.
With whichever localities or wherever you are referring to, you want us to put aside the Constitution and then have some excess powers. Don't forget that there are excesses that would come with a state of emergency. And let me also reiterate that, for instance, as we have, the minister has made us know that forest reserves and water bodies have been declared security zones. What does it mean? It means that our security agencies are going to be deployed to give constant protection permanently to those places because there's the need for that to be done. And so that is why I'm telling you that not even a single security person so far has been able to corroborate same, that look, we also all agree with what the civilians are saying. We are not ruling out the fact that there's a whole lot happening. Yes, the house is on fire, but are you saying that because the house is on fire, let's pull the whole building down immediately and that's the only solution? No, you need to douse the fire. And how do we douse it? Even if you call in fire service, they don't come and put their water guns in just a second, then everything goes off. It may even take 5 minutes, it may take 1 hour, it may take even 3 hours, it may take even a day, depending on the extent of fire. So it is not the case that because there's a fire, it means that we should immediately go and say, let's knock out the whole building, and then there's no building, then maybe even if there's fire, there's not. Yeah, I am not saying so, but I'm just saying that there's been an assumption that there's the house on fire. How do we go about it? It's just like many will say, okay.
But it's not an assumption, the house is on fire.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as Galamsey is concerned,
yes,
we are burning.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
But you see, it is just like there are others who also are suddenly propounding that we should then begin to, we should declare a shoot to kill policy.
That's not in the Constitution.
Well, it is not. It is just the very different things many people are saying. I'm only just letting you know what others also are propounding. But that is why we're saying that you may be calling for a state of emergency. What exactly do you think are the reasons why a state of emergency should be declared? For instance, these water bodies and other forest reserves have been declared security zones, which is to serve as a deterrent to those who are found on our water bodies doing what they are doing, among other things. There are steps taken. That is why the president is saying that where I have gotten to, number one, I do not think that I need any excess powers yet that the Constitution has not given me. Number two, the security briefing I have received does not indicate that I need to do so yet. Many have many have made claim to the constitutional provision that you are supposed to do so. It does not necessarily mean that, let's just assume, if the president is supposed to come here for a program, he's supposed to have media engagement. Do you think he drives in his car by himself and comes over here? There are still strict protocols that you need to abide by in doing so. So the president cannot even get up on his own and say, I feel convinced that I must activate this. He must get through the right protocols or security clearance from his security corpus to do so. And what he is saying that I would be happy to do so if advised to do so. And so he says that, look, currently as we speak, he is able to handle the situations, and he is very convinced that the measures he is rolling out will yield results. And so, yes, others have raised concerns that the timeline should be given. But the president is saying, okay, I am no more issuing licenses into forest reserves. We are going to put to Parliament the repeal of the LI 2462. The 9 red zones that used to be in the hands of criminals have actually been taken back. Excavators that used not to be tracked or used not to be registered are now being registered, tracked, and geofenced. Then the Nimos is being clothed with extra powers to be the singular task force mandated to go in there so we don't have duplication of efforts and other so-called task forces coming in, others compromising and creating the wrong impressions amongst other things. So there are about 8 or 9 measures being rolled out. Another one is also the tribunals and all that. Some of these things, when you ask that a timeline be put to it immediately, it is virtually not impossible. It will go through a certain process. You cannot be able to determine immediately that this process will be a green or it will be a yellow or this or that. But it's a good intention, and like everybody has equally said, yes, it's a right step in the right direction. Maybe. Are we on the right course? Yes. Have we achieved results? Yes. But have we done enough? No. There's more room for it. Okay. And this is 8 months we're talking about.
Let's start now and look at the specifics. And the state of emergency was one clear one. I think you repeated the point, and there's disagreements around the table. I want to go to Dr. Ashigbe first on that subject. I'll come back to you, Awula, on this. Yeah, Doc, you were raising an issue when he touched on that very controversial point.
So I think that it is important to bear in mind, Evans, that the way our constitution is drafted, when you go into Article 31, it makes sure that the state of emergency is very controlled. And if you go back and look at the Emergency Powers Act 1994, that particular act also ensures that even in a state of emergency, there are controls. And what you would do with a state of emergency is very prescribed by the Constitution. So we don't set the Constitution apart. Nobody should, my brother should not even say that. The Constitution is in force to the extent that, the president would have to go to Parliament. There are various strictures that are put in place. And we should also bear in mind who the president is. This is not a president who is going to be trigger happy, going the excesses they are talking about. The excesses is allowing people to die whilst, we sit and watch. The excesses is to allow Simpa on the Takrady Road on Sunday in the full glare. People are still polluting, our water bodies. Those are excesses that are happening. And so for far as some of us are concerned, the state of emergency is a tool that would allow the president to do some of the things that he wants to do very quickly. We talk about there's a mention of the fact that excavators have been registered, but go and check the numbers that have been tracked. Very few. And most of the ones that have been tracked, and before the NPP had tracked about 68 or so. Now we've ramped it up to about 700 or so. But look at the number of excavators that are in the field. Under a state of emergency, the president would not have to wait for these cases to go to court and under Act 995, after you've done the confiscation, for the forfeiture to happen. The president could actually immediately ask those excavators that are still at the port that the people are not able to tell. Those can be confiscated and forfeitures happen immediately. The issues around the state of our court, that we don't currently have a timeline that we're told that a tribunal could be set. Under a state of emergency, we could put those courts in place as quickly as possible. Under a state of emergency, if we decided that we're going to prescribe those areas, the water bodies that nobody should go to, the forest reserves that nobody should go to, that thing I witnessed on the Takrady Road would not have happened because all of those places would have been proscribed. And so, yes, the president says, for me, I think the challenge is the national security chiefs. But again, the president is the chairperson.
But this is what the president said on this last week, Friday. He gave us a bit more clarity there. He says he would only trigger the process if the National Security Council recommends it. What do you make of that answer?
Well, again, that's what I'm saying, that the president is the chairperson of the National Security Council. But bear in mind, Evans, last year, the president, rightly so, when we had the flood from the Volta Lake, the president, rightly so, called for a state of emergency in those communities. Why? Because of the fact that there was a natural disaster, the fact that the situation calls for action to be taken immediately, the fact that there was a deprivation of the communities of essentials. And are these ingredients not there? The president, I am sure that at that point when he made that post on Facebook, had the advice of his team who are currently handling security. So far as some of us are concerned, if you go into Article 31, 9 A and B, the ingredients that the Constitution calls are really available. And the interesting thing about that is that the state of emergency, once it is done and the executive instrument brings out, it could actually define the way it is that it is going to be done. The issues about confiscation of land that chiefs who are complicit, in this Galamsey are causing to happen. All of those could be confiscated under a state of emergency. If a state of emergency happens, another thing that is going to happen is that you find that most of these foreigners, the Chinese people who, the arrowhead, so far as this is concerned, when it comes to foreigners, you find their embassies are telling them all to leave the space. So there are benefits of the state of emergency, but well, be it as it may, some of us will still be asking the president, asking the national security. But Evans, when Eli, my brother, says that no, there are other security persons that are telling us that the state of emergency is an important one. I just don't have the name of. There's a retired, military person. I just don't have his permission to be able to mention his name. If I had his permission, I would have mentioned it. So there are other security persons that are telling us that the ingredients that we require to let this happen, it's available. And I would want to dissuade any of the. And I've heard Eduji Tamaklo say that. I'm also hearing that excesses will not happen under this president.
Yeah,
this president that we have,
and by the way, just to clarify, that the two appointees of this president who publicly have said that they need state of emergency to deal with this matter. One is the Central Regional Minister. And he's important because the Central Region is bearing the brunt of this. It's become the epicenter of the impact. If you go there, the river body we are looking at on the screens right now is the Kunyako treatment plant, which has been shut down. And 10 districts there have been affected. It was on the back of that he spoke to us on my show, on radio, where he said to win this war in his region, he would need that. And then you also have the EPA boss herself, Professor Kluche, who is on record to have said that a state of emergency would have helped because her men are in the forest trying to help, and in some cases, they are not being allowed in there. But you also had something to say on this.
Very quickly, to add to what my brother Ken has said, I think it's right if you want to disagree with a state of emergency, disagree with it. But let's not say things that don't stand scrutiny. The Constitution itself provides for a state of emergency. So it's not a question of suspending the Constitution. I think that's a little, we shouldn't say that. Also, it's quite clear the president can do so in consultation with the Council of State. And then after a while, you have to go to Parliament. So it's not a free-handed situation where you go Rambo style, shooting everybody inside. And it's a bit mischievous to equate it with shoot and kill. A state of emergency has got nothing to do.
I think what he said is somebody had actually also recommended asked for it.
So what I'm trying to say is that people here, I think nobody here is under the illusion that...
Has any of the CSOs asked for that? That's all. I'm just clarifying. I don't
not
think
those
so.
I know. But what I'm saying is that people are perfectly at liberty to disagree. But people are dying as we speak. People are dying. And if we don't get to grips with this matter, we'll all perish. It's an existential threat we face. So some, like the regional minister, have said that they believe that a state of emergency is the way to deal with this canker before it overwhelms all of us.
Yeah, and there's a question I need to ask on the back of Friday, and I'll ask of it of Reverend, because Catholic Bishops' Conference read a statement there, and I believe they echoed the position of Dr. Shigbe also. It used to be a direct demand for a state of emergency, but I think I'm getting a moderated stance now on that, where the Catholic Bishops' Conference was asking for the president to sort of indicate what the threshold will be to trigger a state of emergency, instead of saying we demand a state of emergency. Reverend, has there been a switch or a change, a slight modification of the original demand?
Well, just to address a few words to my brother Elikem, I think that as my sister Ahula said, it is only fair to say that you are allowed to disagree with this demand, but to give the impression that the call for a state of emergency is some sort of attempt to suspend the Constitution, or that those who call for it don't seem to understand what it means, or that we are some sort of bunch of individuals who are just trigger happy. I think that is not a very fair representation of the situation. There are all of these CSOs are people who consult experts. We have spoken, as my brother Togbi Ashigbe said, we've spoken to people, so we haven't just sat up one day and just made requests. Not only have we seen the devastation, we have consulted people who understand these things from scientific basis, national security basis, a human rights basis, and all of that. So it is only fair that he disagrees if he wants, but it is important that he doesn't give the impression that those who are asking for it don't understand what they are asking for, because that will buy into the narrative of lack of integrity in the conversation. Now, the bishops, as I said earlier, understand that what is important in all of this is that the problem, receives a credible solution or effort to arresting it. So whilst if we had our own way, we would ask for a state of emergency. We are more than willing to receive urgent action. So state of emergency is not off the table at all. But if the president says this is what I can do now, well, it will be just going with the one course advocacy and say until we get this, nothing is happening. So we understand that the president is willing to do something. So we will give.
So is it fair to say then that the original position that demanded a direct imposition of a state of emergency in the targeted areas was affected has been modified? Now you really want the president to give you, so what threshold will trigger a state of emergency for you? Just to clarify.
The request for the threshold still indicates that we want it. You see, I think that's what the logic is.
Okay.
It means we want it, but if the president says, because he hasn't received the advice of national security, he's unable to give it now. That is why we are asking for the benchmarks. Okay. So the request is not off the table. It is sort of going into a serious tier 2 negotiation. So I mean, if we say we want this, but he says, okay, well now this is what we can do. What is the point in just saying, well, we want it and we want it now, and we will take nothing else? So we haven't taken the state of emergency request off the table. We are saying that we want it, but now because you say we have to wait for the Council of the National Security, we want what will amount to it now. So it is not off the table. It's just a matter of sort of calculating when we get there. But we want it. It is not off the table at all. Okay,
and the senior also just joined me. By the way, the National Security Council the president refers to, which he says unless until that council recommends it, he will not impose it or go to Parliament for it. The president himself and the vice then the president chairs it. The Minister of Defense, Interior, Foreign Affairs, Finance, he appoints all of them. Chief of Defense Staff, as you know, he's the Commander-in-Chief. Inspector General of Police is the President's appointee too. You have the DG of Prisons, again, the President's appointee. You have Directors of External, Internal, Military Intelligence, the Commander-in-Chief is still the Commander-in-Chief. Commissioner of Customs, there too. And then 3 presidential appointees. Senor.
This is a council with a majority of 1. When the president says that is finished, there's nothing here or there. Elegant, please. Politics is a difficult thing. I can understand, but I beg you in the name of God. There's a time. Yeah, your job is not easy. I have to admit. There's a time where we must look at Ghana first. It's not an ego play, and increasingly, I'm beginning to see that this state of emergency conversation has become an ego matter. I know that you people know that the call is not out of place. But it's okay. If people were not pushing, what is security zone? All the things they are trying to do, they are trying to find a way to do state of emergency without calling it state of emergency. But the reason why we wanted you to do it, or we're advising you do it, so you can get the full powers required to achieve it. So if you don't want, it's your personal problem. We will have to hold you accountable. If all that you are saying you are doing is working, then let's see it on the ground. What are the results? If you are honest about your job and honest with the people of Ghana, you know the problem much better than anybody sitting here. So let's all stop going around this. We are worried about the future of our country. We are worried about the present. People are eating poison. People are importing water. I made a mistake. When we talk about importing, some of your colleagues are questioning me, did the import start today? People should stop this thing. You stop talking and behaving in power as if you are going to have power in perpetuity. You have a duty to state. You have a duty of care to people. When they are raising the issues, look at the issues. Everything, some way. I will the first one to import. Water import has gone up. You will sit on GRA. Go and ask GRA. Go around. Now you see them in retail, fridges, Voss, Kirkland. Now there's Volvic. There's on Spring something. I beg you, is that what you want? Novi, is that what you want? Our people, you and I, the people in our village, can they do this? You come from a place that is currently safe. If your brother's beer is burning,
perceived to be
very soon they will attack us from the north. So we should be careful what we say and what we do. And I doff my heart to the EPA boss for her candidness. She sends people out there, and they are struggling. She's telling you something. If people say it's not a problem. I don't care. This is all that we need to do going forward. It's a very simple matter. But before I proceed, I think that it's fair we comment on the event itself.
Yeah, event, yeah.
All right.
I mean, because you just came back. Please feel free. Let me hear your thoughts.
I commend His Excellency the President. I want to,
I'm sure you're aware it's in relation to a long-standing demand from after that.
I don't know. After the fire from this place, I know that there was movement. And I commend the likes of Callistus, who appreciate the voice of...
You may say after the fire from this place, the last show.
Joe, you are working. You don't have any idea. People listen to you well. So when you fire well. Don't fire Miss. They don't know the story. I commend Callistus. I commend the entire Flagstaff team. You know, the president did a great job. He was in the U.S. And as he took a decision to engage us, I didn't think this was what we were going to get to do. Because I was hoping we were going to have a very close group. Exactly. So we debate, focus group. It's not every CSO who is at the forefront of Galamsey. You understand? So, but I see that you wanted to use it as a vehicle to tell Ghana what you are doing.
An update.
You understand? An update, which is okay.
Accountability is also good.
Accountability. So if you want to do accountability, you want to do accountability. But I'm told by the minister that he's going to still have that group. We have frequent meetings with him. Yeah. So he's going to have that small group, and then let's deal with it. But Novi, if what you are doing, the president said something, and that's the question that the Catholic bishops and then the Ghana Coalition Against Galamsey, which we are all part of, were asking. He said that the state of emergency, he doesn't think that they've exhausted.
Yeah, that was at the media encounter.
So they asked you a simple question. We have asked him a simple question. So what are the parameters that need to be checked before you realize that you are there? That's a matter that he has to tell the people of Ghana. You don't have capacity to answer that question.
I can easily tell you.
No, you don't know. Elikem, don't bring you. I beg you.
I'll still bring you in. Don't worry. I'll bring you in.
You don't have capacity. You are a hardworking guy. We all know what you are doing again on Galamsey. But when you come here, you will struggle. You know why you will struggle. We want a simple matter. Our problems are like 4. Our water, our forest reserves, which has implication of sustainable livelihoods today and into the future, and even into water. Yep. Our food, that is now being destroyed. And the last one here will be the impunity, because we can't have a governance system where people can do this and just get away with it.
It brings to mind your destroyer paste.
We brought a destroyer paste policy. So so these 4 things are the anchor of all the advocacy you hear. You hear it in different ways. Yeah. If your work is really productive, we should be seeing, 1, the quality of our water going up. We are not seeing it. At the press, what do you call it?
At the
press
encounter.
The CSO encounter. It was quite unfortunate. The scientists who came there did a disservice to science. They did a disservice to the program itself. If government comes and said that, in fact, Joy had done some work, so you couldn't even run away from it, even if you were doing PR. You should have come and admitted, this is happening here. We've made progress in these places. All these places, things are getting worse. And when we did it with Nimos, you work with Nimos in these areas, and the improvement has come. So we are hopeful that we'll be able to do this and move this. But people know you're being honest and transparent. People will trust you. But you rather keep being in a campaign mode. Please get out of it. We voted
but the
for
data,
you.
I mean, he provided a caveat, though. He says he only measured dataability in areas where they had deployed.
No, that was later. It was Boa who came to try and explain that, but that was not the story. Okay. Please, when you come out and it's national TV, put all the data, put the good and the bad, and people will realize that you understand the problem. So I sat there wondering, are these people deceiving the president? Because presidency is a very lonely job. They can control what you know and what you don't know in the country very easily. And this is not just about now. It's been like that in perpetuity. His Excellency the President in his first name was taught different kind of things about me and all that. I met the man and he was holding me. I said, oh, boss, this is not true. These are the evidence. He said, But this is that the man had heard all this for years, for months. Presidency is a lonely job. So if I sit there and I could see appointees put together a slide where the president is sitting, where CSOs are sitting, we all know the facts, and you are not showing the full picture. it is not honorable. And you lose faith and confidence from the public, which was a perfect time for you to let people know that you understand the problem. There was no comment about the food issue, which was also unfortunate. These are the problems we are facing. You understand? We are not chasing you for anything. So we have made some recommendations, and we beg His Excellency the President, this our matter is not long. Since you believe in what you are doing, we bless you and we pray for you. We are asking a few things. We should monitor this whole thing together. So the water that's being processed in every Ghana Water Company Limited plant, every day, when you went, don't they have a daily stability?
They do.
Publish it.
But
Let me wake up this morning. We should all see it and then see all the data. And if you are making progress, we will all see. If you yourself, you are seeing that you are not making progress, you will change your gear. Maybe state of emergency is not what you need. It's okay. You know your tools. It's fine. We also want to know the quality of water. I was scared when the EPA boss practically admitted that we don't have the capacity of really separating, taking these chemicals out. So what exactly is happening at Ghana Water? What water are we really drinking through our taps? I don't know. I don't want to sit here and pontificate, but you have raised concerns for me as a consumer. When I open my tap, I use my tap water for my tea, for my coffee. All right? I use it to cook for my wife, my children, my guests, which includes my old friends across the divide. I beg you, what water are we drinking?
Can I interject very quickly?
Yeah, sure.
I think what the point has been made for years now is that when the turbidity levels have got nothing to do with the levels of mercury or arsenic in the water, because they are colorless.
That's why I'm saying that we need quality of water. So let's deal with them one after the other. The turbidity is important. It gives you an indication of where we are going. Because if the pollution is not coming, you won't see the turbidity like that. That doesn't mean chemicals are not in there. So first, the turbidity is easy access. They are measuring it now. So give us the turbidity every day. Publish it. This is it on the screen. Why can't this thing go on the internet? Yeah. Why? It's not hard. Every single place, you know your area. Then you see that the water people are getting good water. If your area is not getting, you start learning sense. You understand? Then we also monitor with you. Your minister will wake up every morning and he will be worried about the report that's going to be coming here. The next thing we want from you a monthly forestry report, state of our forest reserve report. So we know how much of our acreage we are losing or we are gaining. We need to know, because when the Galamsey people enter a place, they can destroy a lot of acreage in just yes.
And the minister showed an
you see, the man is now coming back to his real heart. This man is a good man. He's a good man. So this job he's doing here, he's struggling.
No,
you are struggling. I know. We all know you are struggling. You are struggling. Jesus is coming. You people have to Christ. So I'm begging you guys. We need to also have the forestry report. I'm wrapping that. The water quality on a monthly basis. You take the rivers, you have the quality. See what kind of metals or unhealthy things are in there. How healthy is our water? You should give us a report on a monthly basis, outside of the turbidity. Then the way we have now seen that the food crowd that we are eating, these chemicals are inside. The state must also publish a report on our food quality. Yeah. When you start measuring these things, the attitude of of our policy actors will start changing. Yeah. The last one is our impunity. We should get a report from my brother Dominic Ayini, like he was doing on the other people, on the actions we are taking against every single Galamsey related.
What do you make of the update he gave? He gave an update on Wuntim, he gave an update on Yamin, although yes, Yamin when he left it out and he was asked, but he gave you happy
I
with
don't see Yamin matter going anywhere, but he gave his update, and I appreciate it. Dominic is a very hardworking guy. But you know, he can only work with what the other people bring to him. And there's also a political strain on even the actions that we believe that security or our law enforcement agencies will have to enforce. This won't to me matter. Doesn't make sense. He said something about the fact that a docket was lost. I don't want to just hear about the won't to me matter, contaminating matter continuing. I also want to hear about who took that docket and what actions government is taking against those people. President Mama was very clear. The president said kingpins. You've been here for 8 months. You are telling us that you've arrested 1,400 people. Who are the kingpins?
We're buying the things.
Have you shown us the kingpins?
Let me hear.
Kingpins, where are you?
Let me hear from Elikem. First of all, Elikem, just a second. I will have had something to say briefly.
So I just wanted to say very briefly that yes, when the turbidity levels are high, as has been said, it's bad. But what people don't realize is that even when the water is clear, it could still be full of mercury.
That is the problem we have.
Yes, and I'm saying this, and I remember when I went to the launch of Poison for Gold, and the chief executive of the Minerals Commission was saying that he forbids his children from drinking tap water because he knows this information. Yeah. So you are happily issuing mining licenses like confetti, and you know what is being done to our, the poison of our water body, but you make sure your children don't drink tap water. And Ghanaians need to know that even when the water is clear, it's not necessarily safe. It could be full of arsenic, cyanide, mercury, which are colorless. So we need to have those levels. We need to know what we are drinking. And that's why your food is poisoned now, because what do you think is being used for the farmland?
Water and all that, yes.
Yeah, Evans, it is agreed that there are concerns raised here by many, and these are concerns that are very genuine. Some that I cannot even run away from because we all live in the same country. The concerns about the water, about the forest, about the food we eat and all of that. There's no difference between who it could be affected and all that. What I am saying is that there's a question, for instance, that, okay, the president should set parameters as to when a state of emergency can be declared. The reason I'm telling you that, you may think that I do not have locals, but what I'm telling you is that the president said, I am outlining A, B, C, D. So not until these things fail, I cannot do the other ones. Because whilst he is outlining A, B, C, D, it is not just based on his personal capacity that he's doing all of that. It is based on advice, it is based on expertise, etc.
Elegant.
We may have a disagreement.
I mean, also because I'll come to you.
We may have a disagreement as to when that should be activated. That is still part of the process for all of us. That is why I even gave an example. That even I woke up yesterday hearing about two different people saying there should be a shoot to kill. Even today I was asked the same question. I said no, I am not.
Shouldn't have that conversation.
No, you don't determine that. I am making an assumption. I'm not suggesting that.
He said he's headed elsewhere.
I'm heading that, unless you've not heard me right. So it is different people with different perceptions and even how they want this matter to be addressed. Like he even said, okay, you are even doing a form of a state emergency in one way or the other. It is not necessarily the case, but yes, there are actions that ought to be taken. The president is very convinced that based on what information he has, if A, B, C, D are all ruled out, he is very certain.
So, but that's where I'll come to you. But that's where the question comes in. If he is waiting to see the outcomes of his current interventions before he acts. At what point, that's why the ask is changing.
Yes.
At what point then would you say, I'm ready now to trigger it? And what are the success indicators? And remember that Kenneth was asking that question. In fact, he had written and submitted it. What are the success indicators that would then convince the president that I've reached a point where my interventions aren't achieving the outcomes I expect? So let's move to the next step of into the state of emergency.
Okay.
We didn't get that.
Okay, so number one, for instance, it is very clear that when we are declaring the water bodies as security zones, the intention is to make sure that these are not only protected, but all manner of persons found anywhere close to these now will be, I don't want to use extinguished, but will be dealt with. And now, for instance,
you have arrested 1,400 people, you couldn't even manage them.
No.
So when you go arrest people on the water, what will you do?
No, when you
what a state emergency would that for you? It will give you even legal flexibility on how to even manage people. But it's okay. I beg you, let's not make this conversation about state of emergency.
No, it's not. He's moved on. He's moved on. He's addressing other
that is why I feel that the only concern is that, well, apart from it being a bit too draconian, the president himself has stated clearly, I do not feel that I need to do I need to take any action but I am not...
Address something he said that is within your purview, which is the State of Ghana Forest Report regularly.
Yeah, and I agree. Two things. I was saying two things, both the water, on the turbidity and all of that. It is, I mean, even the minister agreed over there. Well, not to let the cat out of the bag, but this is something that is no secret anyways. For instance, we intend to make sure we intensify that at our end at Forestry Commission to regularly update the Ghanaian, not only about the happenings there, but even about forest laws, about the agency, the departments and the units over there. That gives an awareness about whatever is going on.
But what is there's a specific ask. There's a specific ask.
Yes.
the forests. You told us one time, the minister updated, that you reclaimed some of the forests.
Nine of the red
Good.
zone.
So what you're now being asked is, do that regularly and tell us. So the forest cover. How much of that have you now?
So, for instance,
how much have you lost?
How much have we lost?
So that we can track over time and say, since you started.
When I hear the president talk about this,
done.
I'm confident that
will be done.
Information to the president is being managed.
No, not at all.
Look,
not at all.
Elikem,
You see,
how will you come and stand in front of the president and then the public, and you are not talking about stabilities, and nobody's talking about what is happening at Kwanyako? You understand what I mean? Because it's not on. But it's okay. I said, let's just move on. Let's just move on. We need. Kwenyako. Jalagbe, they try small. You will give me credit. Look, where we are, it is dire.
Nobody is ruling that out.
It is dire.
Nobody's
I'm a businessman. I know the cost of coming to sit here. And then you people punish me.
Yes.
You punish me without even thinking about it. But when I see the cost, I'll be punishing my life and my children and children's children. And I don't know how to explain to generations after that we sat by and watch you guys act the way you do. You're all my friends. We don't have any reason to come after anybody.
No, I don't think
the matter is simple. Where we are, it is dire. Even the EPA boss used the term irreversibility. Yeah. They were getting to a point of irreversibility. So if she is being honest with you, and you yourself cannot be honest with yourself, and the president says what he says, I am confident that the president's information is really being managed. But it's normal with governments. That's what everybody does. But where we are now, we will not wait for you to manage the information. We will shout till he hears. And we don't have a problem what tool he thinks he wants to
deploy.
We have advised, and we have given advice on sound counsel and sound counsel. But please, I want to know when we are going to have our daily stability reports from the Ghana Water. 2, monthly water quality report that tells us what metals are in there, whether it is improving or is not improving. 3, food quality. 4, we need to see reports on the legal actions being taken and investigations. And in that process, we need to see who the kingpins, His Excellency the President, has been talking about.
Okay.
After almost 10 months, we're in the 10th month, the month of my birth, and I pray that this special Libra month, the good Lord will touch the president's heart to make sure they expose at least 5 of the kingpins.
Yeah. Okay. Briefly, yes.
We already know.
The ask.
Yes.
The ones in your domain. What assurances can you give on what your Forestry Commission is doing to provide that information?
I am aware that from Friday that we had that engagement, there's been steps taken to make sure that the Forestry Commission is setting up a unit that is aimed at ensuring that there will be regular and periodic updates.
Okay.
Not only by our...
What are we going to be updated on?
No, on the forest and activities in the forest.
Okay.
Look, for
instance... As well as Galamsey is concerned.
As well as Galamsey is concerned. As I was here, for instance, I had an update from...
So frequently? How
frequently.
No, yeah. I don't want very frequently. Jesus said he's coming soon. So tell us, how frequently?
He's making He's coming there. He's coming there.
It could be weekly. It could be...
No,
I'm to tell you that.
But also specificity.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what,
if the committee has been formed, they have a mandate.
Yes.
What have they been told to do and how frequently?
No, so it has not been fully formed.
See, I told you,
so the concern is that you are bringing things together. So you see, sometimes you expect that things are done in a certain rush, but it cannot just be done that way.
But we are going to have that committee.
We will definitely have
and they will be
when will it be?
It's not only a committee, but that is why I'm assuring you, already letting you that either weekly or every fortnight, that will be done.
Okay.
Number 2,
either weekly or fortnight. It's even breaking our 1 month.
It's on record. It's on record. Go on, proceed.
So, for instance, as I'm here, I'm getting updates from Nimos about what activities that are ongoing.
Okay, walk us through some.
I was sharing some with her even over there. There's a town, an enclave called Aboso in the Western region, where they are also engaged in numerous activities of Galamsey, and illicit drug trade has also become another major worry over there.
It follows,
and those things go on.
Yeah.
It is the reason why the way Nimos is structured this time around is not the normal military you see, just go in there, destroy and come back. They go in there, put an end to whatever is going on, and then they are going to be stationed there permanently on rotational basis.
We are a part of Nimos, and just to let you know, we've been given a seat on Nimos.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Thanks to the minister.
Yes.
We support your. You see, my problem with you is that You do too much input talk. Input must translate into proper output.
Okay.
So what is the output?
I wanna.
So you are going to give us 1 week or 2 weeks.
Yeah,
what
he
is
said
the
that.
situation about water?
Senor, let him wrap up because I want to hear from.
Nimos will not be the one to tell you more about the quality of water.
Oh, we are not talking Nimos.
You're giving
That is
further updates.
That's what I was just going to give you an update
Yeah.
on Nimos. This was as of 8:47 when I had this.
Okay.
Nimos strikes heavily on Gangway, a notorious Galamsey hideout at Aboso in the Western region. It goes on and on with pictorial evidence, videos. I was sharing even some with her.
Okay, so this is an operation that was conducted
This is an
today.
operation that was conducted today. I'm even aware that tomorrow early dawn, there will be some at another place that will be happening spontaneously. Yes, there is the need to approach all of this. All cannot be solved within the twinkle of an eye. You would have to first be able to be demobilizing these guys and engaging in the activities that would actually put them all down. The Gang of Nine that went back into the Anhwea Photo Forest Reserve also, have been arrested, brought to Accra, and they've been splitted to various police stations. And the minister himself placed a call to the Attorney General to expedite action on their prosecutions to serve as a major deterrent. While you see, and this is very multifaceted, we cannot rule that out. But then you would have to be approaching all of them, not one at a time, but spontaneously, in order to make sure. That is why I am convinced that sooner than you can imagine, there will be significant progress, and we would all be seeing it for ourselves. That our water bodies.
Let me hear from Awula.
Then we now look at the
all I'll say is that we all here recognize that we're on the verge of an ecological catastrophe.
Yeah.
And time is running out. It's interesting that in opposition, we can solve this in 4 months if there was
1 week.
1 week. If there was a political will. Now suddenly the narrative has changed, and it's
in a twinkling of an eye.
It's
because there's a
process. But anyway, be that as it may, even the low-hanging fruit, like giving us a number that you can call, because you said if you see something, say something. How are you going to say something when you don't even have the number? For example, Atronsu is a place very dear to my heart. They have been doing their best to protect the pure Atronsu stream. Because of that, they are facing criminal charges, which has cost a lot of money. On Friday, I got a call that an excavator has moved back to the area. 2 excavators were burnt, and that's when the destruction stopped. Now an excavator has gone there. We managed to get Nimos to be contacted. As at the time I was coming here, according to the activists in Atronsu, nobody has moved there. So, these are the things that people are asking for a state of emergency, hoping that then you have more resources to be able to act quickly. Because you know what damage an excavator can cause. It hasn't started work yet, but we don't want to wait for them to start destroying before we start running there. So today they have been told that we've heard, but nothing is happening. And then, so this is something that was of great worry to me. And
okay, so can you take note of this area?
Yeah, I've taken note.
And so follow the number. Yes.
And then
please, what's the area? What's the area again?
Nimos.
What's the area again? So that he's taking note.
Atroso.
Yes, I'll give you the location. I've got all the information on my phone. I can send it to you.
Okay, good.
So that's a great worry because you want to see some progress. And as I keep on saying, like a sports record, we're on the verge of an ecological catastrophe. This is not a joke. This is not a time for partisanship. Because when the disaster is coming, it doesn't know any elite
There's
or
no
political
NDC water or MPP water.
And also, I think it's very important that we learn from where it's working. I keep on talking about Gemma, where they have managed to prevent the illegal or the environmental terrorists, the Northwest region, Western North region. They have
I'm told that the 9 guys have been remanded already.
So if we are serious, we need to have a conversation with them and find out why they have been able to keep illegal mining at bay. Because they are an example of fantastic good practice.
Okay, good. Dr. Ashigbe, so what next? The meeting happened, and I remember last week, all of you said you were hoping that this would be the make or break meeting that then spells out clarity, we're going. I don't get a sense that you were fully happy with the outcomes, although you appreciate the first step. So what next? What happens now from here?
Well, thank you. So again, as Senor and then Awula had said, we have, and you have repeated, there are some asks that we have in terms of, and so the document that we've submitted to His Excellency the President, not only what we have submitted, I was in that meeting wearing multiple hats. I was also wearing the Catholic hat as well, and so the church has also submitted that to His Excellency the President.
Please, the bishops are
celebrating. We will be waiting to get the response from His Excellency the President. Okay. And what we call on everybody to do is that if you see something, say something. It's the minister that is asking that to happen. So as we wait for the number to be given, once anybody sees it, please let's go onto social media. Let's put it out there. Let's tag the minister. Let's tag His Excellency the President. Let's tag everybody else so that they can be aware of what is happening. For example, as we speak, I have shared this on the Nimos platform. You know, there are some Chinese people who have gone to the Western North. The PR water is being destroyed. And again, so my brother, in Enchi, for example, the Boy Forest Reserve is under attack. The regional minister, the forestry people need to be dealing with all of this. And the updates are very, very important. And so it's important that we get those updates. And we at the coalition, we would still be waiting for that response from His Excellency on the issues that have been asked. But I think it's also very important, Evans, that at this stage, the issues about the KPIs that we're giving to the DCs and MCs, we need to be asking what is happening. Okay. The police commanders, the IGP has told us that there were going to be some transfers that are going to be done. Western region, Eastern region,
transfer has been done.
Around the exactly. So those are questions that we're asking. Eastern region, the regional commander there are some concerns coming from the legal small-scale miners about some activities that's been happening. Today, I am being told that a lot of the chamfans, there are some police people who might be owning some of these chamfans. That has to be looked into. We cannot have the situation. And you see, if you go into Act 995, it is proscribed. Now the Galamseyers, they have one thing they call one leg. I understand that the one leg is even more dangerous than the excavators. They bring it onto your land and they will destroy it. They are being sold very cheaply in Anyakwanta. I hear with 11,000, 12,000 cedis, you'll be able to assemble them. So what we need to do is to ensure that as we have blocked the excavators, we should also be blocking this chamfans and the one leg from getting into the market. And Nyakwanta, for example, Nimos should raid there. Who are they selling those one leg to? So it is important that we deal with all the tools of their trade.
Okay, good. And Reverend, what next for the Catholic Bishops' Conference?
Well, I think that what His Excellency the President said in one of the answers, which I commend him for, the fact that he had seen and appreciates the contribution of the CSOs and the faith-based organizations, and therefore we must continue to hold his feet to fire. We thank him for that, but we promise him that we will hold his feet to fire. So that request is made. We thank him for. We will make sure that we do that.
Yeah. Okay.
To make sure that he's a success and that Ghana too is a success.
Okay, that's an effective summary. Yeah, and you're going to provide an update on something that you said very briefly because I want to hear from.
A quick one. It is the major reason why somebody may say the DCs and all of that. We want to have a very effective and efficient coordinated effort towards this whole fight. And so we do not want people putting onto themselves task forces, doing things that, again, end up compromising the whole exercise. If you see anything, whatever, it is only Nimos that is close with the powers and even the resources to be able to fight these. And the number to reach out for Nimos, if I may put it out onto
Please do.
This program, is 024 0700 487. 024 0700 487.
Let's put that on the screen in the slag.
024 0700 487 or 024 0700 487.
So there are two numbers.
That is the same number. It's just one number.
Okay.
Yes. And so
it goes to a secretariat.
It goes. Yes. It goes.
This is not an individual's mobile number you are giving us.
No.
Okay.
Yes.
Good.
And I agree. I'm like we say. I sit here. I drink water. I eat food. There's a concern that we are supposed.
And this is manned 24/7 or this?
Yes, this is manned
24/7. And so if I call it right now, I'll get somebody to respond to. Okay.
We are supposed to eat balanced diet. After that, you're supposed to take a fruit, eat a good vegetables, etc. Now we all are concerned about
balanced chemicals.
Yes, exactly.
You will eat balanced chemicals.
So we all are very concerned. And you see, as we even are saying that maybe here and now, down south in the Volta region, we think our water body is even clean. But because where it is taking its source from, it could also be very
well. Just last week, the Volta Lake is now under attack from Boli.
Exactly.
The Bullet
That's where.
the Bullet DC had to send in a team to try and they had deployed some funds on the lake there.
Yeah.
And so, of course, as you know what happened.
You know,
it's
the
gonna
other
come
thing
down
about
south.
champagne,
So-
because I live in an agric area, you know, there's this equipment we call the power tiller.
Yeah.
The champagne is almost just the engine used on power tiller.
So that's the Bullet visual.
Volta
That's the Bullet. This is the. I think it's the black Volta that is there, right?
Okay.
You guys should clarify for me. This is what they found. He sent a men there, and they are destroying that part of the lake.
So
And this
you
is
see,
gonna
that
come
is the
down.
champagne. That is actually just the head of a power tiller. In Volta, way back then, we used to call it agrima. That is the power tiller is what is used to till the land and with a truck at the back and all of that. So it is also what makes it difficult to ban because it is a major
It's a makeshift.
tool.
You can quickly.
Yeah, but you can quickly just.
Repurpose it.
So we need to. Maybe we
Senyo,
yeah.
So briefly, what next for you?
Look,
What are we going to see?
We have to move the focus towards asking for proper monitoring.
Yeah.
So this conversation about emergency or no emergency is their personal problem. We just want results.
Yeah.
So we need to have that done. The event is a step in the right direction, but we need to have proper meeting.
There's more expert.
All right. I condemn any condemnation of the event in that event shouldn't be happening. No, it's a first step. Those people are condemned. I hear the minority.
So minority, you disagree with them?
I disagree absolutely. They should rather focus on learning from them. If they were cooperating with us and also hearing us more, maybe we would have all mutually made progress on the matter. But they should learn. One day they will come back to office. But they should learn from this kind of engagement. But what you should know is that don't use us to do your PR.
Not at all.
Get it clear. So we are respecting the fact that it's a first step. We want to see proper engagement where we are resolving and taking strategic action.
If it's a first step, what is the next step?
You need to have a close group engagement with the CSOs.
Okay.
And
So when we are talking about this monitoring matter, we need to have a monitoring committee in place. We need to be represented in there so that there's proper visibility. So we can also tell the people of Ghana whether the people are lying or not.
know it is-
Like the way they came on the screen and the scientist was almost misrepresenting the full fact.
You know, it is for one of those purposes of transparency that even you are also on Nimos. Just to.
Oh yeah, the
And I know
minister.
you
Look,
have-
I said, Boa is our only primary blessing in this fight. Emmanuel Boa is our primary blessing in this fight. Otherwise, we would have been alone. I'm sure by now, but you know, another thing, Ken Ashigbe, look at the fight he's been fighting.
I know.
Ken Ashigbe has been at the forefront of it. This is a human being, a true Ghanaian who must be celebrated. Then you get people from your office attacking this man politically. Is it proper? Please, you people should check your house. Okay. And when we work together, let's work together as a team to fight this menace.
Okay, and
The Ghana is only one.
And that
there's no
is-
NDC or MPP food, no NDC or MPP water. There's no NDC or MPP forest. The Ghana is one.
Okay, and I believe that is an appropriate way to end it because as for Ken Ashigbe, he's been in the trenches. He's been in the trenches fighting and waging this war as long as I can remember. And there's a national honor, the highest one,
Yes.
Order of the Volta, whatever it's called.
Let's not forget the likes of Erastus.
And Erastus, sorry,
Who have actually put their lives on the line and have
Erastus
suffered
and
for
co
it.
who have done it. I mean, he's lost almost everything, and he
Exactly.
keeps doing it.
So let's celebrate.
They deserve
Till we
to be
are
celebrated.
till we are Ohime, who was beaten. and-
Yes, and others, you know.
And others.
So really, we celebrate you. We celebrate all of you for that great. We'll continue to come back here regularly and have this conversation. Hopefully that, as you say, it makes an impact. And hopefully that then, as the president says, hold his feet to the fire because that's the only way this doesn't get, brushed over. As you said, it's what? We are facing an
existential
ecological.
We're on the verge of an
Tell your people not to come after me because the president says we should shout. So I will keep shouting. I'm listening to the president.
Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Nobody's coming after you.
Oh, you